can get into?
My name is Valina, and I'm calling from West Idaho.
Valina. Ooh, that's a nice name.
Oh, thank you.
Well, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm calling because on that one question you had about them tapping the lines of every 100 people.
1 out of 100.
Yeah. I think that would be completely wrong myself. Because, I mean, that's a person's privacy, you know. And going completely against that.
Well, they're saying in high crime areas. Now, a lot of these people are saying, you know, when can you get the cocaine over here or something like that, you know?
Well, I can understand that, but how do they know that the call that they're going to be taking is actually going to be a crime call?
They don't.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
You know what they really do?
Go ahead and get right into it.
They rely on computers, and the computers, it's really interesting what they're able to do. They look for keywords, like scope, crack, kilo, words that would tip them off, and if the computer finds one of those words, as it listens to zillions of conversations, it kicks out the conversation.
Oh, okay.
That's why when you're on the phone talking to a friend from now on, be sure somewhere in the middle of the conversation you say, kilo.
Okay, I'll remember to do that.
Yeah, all right. All right, thank you very much for the call. Yeah, I don't think it's such a hard idea myself. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi, guys.
Hello,
I'm calling from Anchorage, Alaska.
Anchorage, Alaska. Okay.
My question is, did you know if Mr. Scallion say anything about Alaska in predictions?
I just read you exactly all I have, my dear.
Oh, I missed it. We were coming on the home and we didn't listen to the whole thing.
I will probably repeat it in about an hour.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Thank you very much. There was nothing specific here about Alaska, so I would say rest easily at the moment, anyway. Or you can rest easily under any circumstance. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Oh, hi. I wanted to comment on that FBI thing with tapping every 100 phone lines.
No, sir. 1 in 100.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry. Excuse me. But there's something to prevent that. If anybody has access to the internet, use Netscape. And MIT, if you go to http://www.mit.edu, they have something called PGP phone, which is pretty good privacy, and it will encrypt your voice.
You can digitally encrypt your voice, but anything digitally encrypted can be unencrypted.
Well, actually, this guy who developed this, the government, it would take, they figured out it would take a great computer like several years to encrypt.
Well, they have great computers, sir, and they, I'm not saying that anything up on the internet may not be good, but the Russians and others have concocted things that were supposedly unbreakable, and they all get broken.
True. But the FBI won't do that for the average Joe.
It says pretty good privacy, PGP, right?
Correct.
Pretty good. That doesn't mean infallible.
No.
And that doesn't mean it can't be broken. So, now think about this for a second. If you're an FBI guy, and you're listening in something that is encrypted, highly encrypted,
right?
What are you probably going to do?
Well, I'm probably going to think...
You're going to go, oh no, this is encrypted, damn, I can't listen to it. Or are you going to turn it over to your boss and say, boss, this one's encrypted, I think we better take a good close look.
True.
Let's crank up the praise.
Very true, but if everybody did that, then it would be a good thing. If everybody were to do such a thing, then they couldn't do everybody.
Okay, now, well, that's true. Just as a matter of interest, you're on the phone a lot, right?
Yes.
Even right now?
Correct.
Do you say a lot of things on the phone the FBI would be jotting down?
Possibly.
Oh, you do?
Well...
Oh, no kidding.
Anything.
Well, let's find out a little more about you.
They could.
Let's see here. We got Paul Trace going? Yeah, he's going. All right. So, what are we talking here, sir? Dope? Bombs? Guns?
No, anything could be. I could say just the wrong thing. Then they could take that the wrong way.
Remember what I said, sir. Kilo. Kilo. It'll get the attention of the craze. Listen, I gotta go. I got news.
Thanks.
All right, we'll see you later.
You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring a replay of Coast to Coast AM from November 1st, 1995.
Well, hello and welcome to the stream.
Premier Radio Network presents Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight's program will be aired November 1st, 1995.
It is, and I've got a big update from Gordon Michael Stallion. I will repeat it next hour. Otherwise, it's open lines. My email address is artbell, ARTBELL, @AOL.com. That's artbell @AOL.com. If you want to join my infamous flaming news group, I can tell you how to do it on AOL. I can't tell you how to do it on other internet access points, but presumably you internet junkies certainly know how to do it. So the way you do it on AOL is go into a keyboard and just type in news groups. When you get to news groups, you will be greeted by some graphics. And you simply hit expert add, and then it'll want you to type in something. What you do is type in ALT.FAM.ART-BELL. There. I'll give that again in a second. When you do, from then on, you get my favorite news groups, and my news group will come up. Again, it is change his tune to this visit right now. Sincerely, your friends in 78. Yes, as a matter of fact. That is pretty odd. I hadn't thought about that before listening. You think they took Gorby on the big elevator ride? And this, here I hate Steve too. Actually, I hate two Steves, one
Well, hello and welcome to the stream.
and three Bobs. But then there's always Connie, Lynn, and Sandy too. No, I mean SVP. I mean the Steves I can understand. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hi, Art.
Hello,
This is Charlotte from South Carolina.
Charlotte from South Carolina.
Right. God, I can't believe I got through.
You ought to be in North Carolina, probably in Charlotte, huh?
Yeah.
Then you'd be Charlotte. From
Here we
Charlotte.
go, baby.
Yeah.
Let's get right
Anyway,
into it.
glad to have you.
Yeah, I've been listening to you about 2 years now. I work third shift all night, so you're kind of all the time, no offense, but God, I can't believe I got through.
So in other words, I picked you because I've monopolized everything in the air.
Well, no, there's really only one talk radio program on at night, and I just turned it on tonight about 2 years ago when you were.
And there I am. You've been here ever since.
Yeah, I can't believe, I mean, it's like, I was just bored tonight, so I thought, well, I'll try to call, and I got right through. I can't believe it.
Can happen.
Yeah. I was just curious if you have any, like, liberal Democrat friends.
That's an interesting question. As a matter of fact, yes, I do.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I'm pretty much a liberal. I'm definitely a Democrat, but, you know, I mean, you don't, I like your show. I didn't think I would. I thought I was some conservative, crazy guy, you know. I don't know. I really like your show. I thought, I wonder if you have any liberal friends.
Well, I do. Or to coin an old phrase, some of my very best friends are liberals.
What about Dr. Democrat?
He's not one of them.
Oh, I thought y'all make good friends.
Actually, I enjoy his cause. Let me put it that way. I do. I really do. I enjoy his cause. And I think he does more to forward the conservative agenda than nearly any other person who calls the show, say perhaps Trump.
Yeah, you have to be fun. I love the show.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, that's all I really wanted. I'm fixing to quit my job, so I don't know how much I'll be able to listen to you from now on.
Why do you think so?
I don't really get along with my manager. But,
Really?
Yeah.
Is your manager Steve?
No, my ex-manager is Steve, and he was great.
Really?
Yeah, I miss him a lot.
Well, it was a cover-up.
Yeah, I miss him.
What kind of work do you do?
I work at a convenience store,
Ah.
and I go to school.
What would you like to do, given your brothers?
I don't know. I went to about a year and a half of college, and I dropped out because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I decided to take some time off and think about it, and that was 3 years ago.
So you're still thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't there any career or any following that captures your fancy?
Yeah, I really love animals, and I don't know, maybe, I don't know, I'm a veterinarian or something. I just don't think I could give the shots and things, you know. I cry every time an animal dies, but,
Oh, you mean putting to sleep?
well, you know, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, but when it comes to that, you know, it's an act of mercy.
Yeah,
One they don't do for people.
that's true.
All right, thank you very much for the call, and maybe maybe you ought to be a vet. Toughen up a little bit. I was a medic in the Air Force, and you know, all the scenes you see in the movies where they take people into the operating room for the first time, they're true. You know, about 1 out of 4 or 5 will whoosh right down on the floor. First time they see somebody opened up, it's on the floor. And they just pass out. Oh, God, you mean that's really inside all of us? I don't want to see this. Goodbye. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to talk to the gal that just hung up. I
Well, now think about it, sir. How can I let you talk to the gal who just hung up?
well, I guess if I were to talk to the gal that just
Well, I mean, you are in the sense she's listening.
okay, what I would say is, by all means, pursue your dreams. But in the meantime, do whatever you best can decide to do. I didn't go to law school until I was 35 years old. I wish I had decided. I went to art school, graduated with a degree in art, did that for 10 years. And then went to law school because the art didn't pay enough. And at 35 years old, I just basically, at 41, I'm a lawyer. I wish I'd done it the other way around.
You're a lawyer, huh?
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have made 10 years of a lawyer's wages and then bring out the next bill.
How do you feel about all the lawyer jokes?
I don't think they're all that necessary.
Not even the one about, you know, all the millions of lawyers at the bottom of the ocean being a good start.
No, there is one lawyer joke out of
Which one?
It's the one about the old man dies. His deathbed, he tells the lawyer and the doctor to divide up his money and tells them to each throw the money into his grave. And on his funeral, the priest throws in the cash. And and the doctor throws in the cash, and the lawyer throws in an envelope, and afterwards at the reception, the priest says, you know, I have a confession to make. I kept half of it back and gave the rest to poor children. The doctor says, you know, I have a confession to make. I kept all of it back. I gave it to the fund to pay for poor people to pay for the medical bills. The lawyer says, I'm shocked at you people. I wrote him a check for the entire amount.
You're right. That's pretty good.
I wrote you back.
Hey, wait a minute. There's one more thing, sir. I have a theory, and maybe you can confirm or deny it for me.
Okay.
But as America, which litigates itself to death here, continues this litigation, lawyers, on average, take about, 25-30%, sometimes even more of each settlement.
If there's like something like, say, a personal injury case or a case on contingency, I would say probably 30% to a third was probably standard.
Yeah, right. So wouldn't it follow that eventually, it may take a generation, but eventually lawyers will have all the money?
Well, assuming they don't spend it on fast cars, loud sport jackets, and
Bad women.
yes, whatever.
I mean, really, eventually lawyers will accumulate all of the money.
Well, I think that one lawyer, there's a very famous jurist and instructor, I forget his name at the moment, who said that the law as a way of settling people's problems is vastly overrated. I think that he was right.
One last question. I don't get it. People admit they're attorneys that often. During the whole OJ thing, I imagine you followed it.
I actually didn't pay a lot of attention to it. It was just one more trial to make, and not all that interesting ones at that, except for the social ramifications.
No kidding. Are you a trial attorney?
Oh, I've done trial a few times.
All right. Well, anyway, you called for a reason, and I diverted you.
So I sent you a fact today, actually, about what I thought were the president's motivations for his act in Bosnia. And
what did you say?
Oh, basically, I said that I think that really the president is probably confused, or no, he's not confused. He has a different idea of who his constituency is than the rest of the general public, I think. He thinks his constituency are the people who believe that we need to create a one world government, basically. And
I was gonna say perhaps he thinks his constituency are the French and the English and the Italians and all the people who ought to be over there doing what we're about to have to go do.
Yes, well, I think that may well be. I think that his constituency is a group of people who believes that we need to act in concert as we need to build a consensus in the world, and we need to get everyone used to it.
If you were to guess right now, without looking, how much money would you think is in your couch?
In my couch?
Yeah.
I would say $1. In fact, I would say on average, probably everyone has $1 or so in their couch.
Check it out and let me know.
Okay.
Thank you very much. In fact, some of the rest of you, while you have an opportunity now, go check and see what's in your couch. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello there.
Good morning, Art.
Good morning. Where are you?
I'm calling from Colchester, listening to you, Illinois, listening to you on WK8930.
Excellent. Welcome.
I spoke to you yesterday. Question. I could not resist making a call tonight on about the FBI and the monitoring of
1 out of 100
calls.
Yes.
I see nothing wrong with the high crime area. I really don't.
Well, the only thing that I would want nailed down fairly carefully is what constitutes a high crime area. Now, might they not use this authorization to, for example, tap my phone? I mean, you have to imagine they would be interested in what I talk about. And, I talk to a lot of people that are fairly powerful and have a lot of things to say, some of which the government might be either interested in or not like a lot. And might they not be tempted, once they have the ability, to come after people like me?
Well, I don't think so, Art. I think that person there, they'd want to tap their line and not yours. I mean, let's face it. I mean, you're not a criminal.
Well, fine, but I guess that is my point.
I mean,
in other words, is it not a fairly slippery slope, or a possible slippery slope, listening to 1 out of 100 in high crime areas, to listening to people that, well, you know, might be politically disagreeable to whatever administration sits at the time?
Well, yes, I guess you could be right there. But
how about you? Would they like your conversations?
No, I think they'd find them extremely boring.
Really?
Yes. And comment about your book. I have this lady friend that's going to be getting your book, and she told me, she said, I'll let you read it after I get done with it. And of course, I've heard people call in and say, you know, hey, Art, you talk too much about your book. You talk too much about your book. Well, I wrote a magazine article back in '83, which was in a national magazine, and I still talk about it.
Well, as you notice, I have shut my mouth about it, and I'm waiting basically until I'm sure that just about everybody's got it. Then I'll let the audience talk about it. They can claim it or whatever they want to do.
Well, after I read it, I'll probably call and make a comment. And now that's like, I'm not in a real high crime area. I mean, we've got a university 7 miles away.
So they might be listening.
Well, this is possibly so, but the nearest FBI office is in Decatur, Illinois. So, but
that doesn't matter.
You know, they're not within, shall we say, well, it's people in Scannerland.
I mean, already you said enough in this conversation for a Cray computer, which is what they use, to kick it out. You said FBI, you said TAP, you said criminal, you said all kinds of key words that a Cray computer would say, excuse me, boys, you're going to want to listen to this one. See what I mean by this now?
Yeah, I see exactly where you're coming from, Art. But no, the only high crime that we've got in this area is, pardon the way I put this, water bill. But I do have one question, seriously.
Water bills, yes?
Have you had anybody ever, when they call in on your 800 lines, have you noticed that after so many rings, you have a recording that comes in and kicks you off, and you have to redial again?
Happens to everybody on every line.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that.
Yes, well then know it now. It is another great service of your diversified telephone company. They have no real good reason for having done this. In the old days, you could call and let a phone ring 24 hours a day. Now you can't do it. Now you get, I'm sorry, your party is not answering. Please try again later, or something like that. And they've got some limp excuse about not tying up phone lines, or I mean, how many of you out there let phones ring for 24 hours a day back when you could do it? Huh? Did you? It seems so unfair to be cut off when you're trying to get through to a talk program. We don't do it to you. It is the phone company. And it is the diversification. I somehow know it is. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. This is Socialist.
Yes.
Well, I don't mind you talking about your book. You know, you ought to be proud of your personal endeavor.
People stop making me talk about my book. I've been talking about it. I've been saying a word about it.
Well,
on purpose.
Well, I'm defending you here. I don't think you talk about it.
I remember you calling up and saying I was.
No. I didn't say that. Now, I never have said that. I kind of ribbed you about it.
Now, I did say I would have put your photograph in it had you sent it. And you said, well, I thought I did. But you didn't.
No, I didn't say that. I said I wouldn't want my picture in it.
Oh.
You
wouldn't want to be in the lineup with the conservative nightmare and Charlie and Doc. They're in there.
There's too many right-wing nuts in this country. Somebody bumped me off for the things I've said.
You know, actually, when it comes right down to it, and you look at the violence that has been done in America, there has been more violence done by left-wing lunatics
What?
Oh, absolutely.
Mr. Bell, this is a right-wing country. What are you talking about?
No, this is a generally.
That is outrageous.
This is a generally a very middle of the road, slightly conservative country. That's what this is. From your perspective, on the very far fringy left.
You say such outrageous things.
Of course it's right wing. Listen, I will hold you over because I know that you're not done with me yet.
Yes, sir. You got it coming.
Yeah, so do you. Stay right there. All right, more in a moment from the high desert. I'm Art Bell.
And this is Art Bell, somewhere in time on Free Meter Radio Networks. Tonight, an encore presentation of Coast to Coast AM from November 1st, 1985. You're listening to Art Bell, somewhere in time on Free Meter Radio Networks. Tonight, an encore presentation of Coast to Coast AM from November 1st, 1985.
All right, here I am from your friends in Madison, Wisconsin, Art. Thanks for the scallion update. We still want to do your numerology, but it appears that you don't want us to. Now we think we know why. You are not really named Art Bell. That's your radio name. We think your real name might be Steve. Well, it might. It might be Steve Boutros, by golly. Art, here's another one. Thought I'd mention that today actually marks the this is serious, the 75th anniversary of commercial broadcasting in the USA. Station KDKA Pittsburgh is credited with the first commercial broadcast, November 2nd, 1920, with a broadcast of, this is really, I wish I could tell you why this is so interesting. I'll be damned, November 2nd, huh? I'll tell you what, I'll tell you tomorrow why this is so interesting. Ooh, talk about signs. Anyway, KDKA Pittsburgh is credited with the first broadcast on 2nd November 1920 with a broadcast of the Harding-Cox election returns, asking the audience if they heard the cast, then they should respond by writing to the station. I'll be doggone. That's my board op, Ron, at KTUC in Tucson. Ron, thank you, Ron. Ron, you get me a phone number, if you would, to get hold of you, Ron, because I will tell you something that'll blow your mind. So it was November 2nd, 75 years ago, the first commercial broadcast station went on the air. You have no idea how personally meaningful that is to me, and I can't tell you today why. Tomorrow I can tell you. All right. Pretty Good Privacy was named that way as a sort of joke. You see, it takes less than an infinite amount of time to decrypt it. Not much less, though. So it's only pretty good instead of perfect. This encryption program has scared our government so much that PGP has been classified as a military weapon in the same category as plutonium. You may think I'm kidding, but it's all true. Signed, Eric the Hacker. And by the way, AOL, America Online, has a big bit of news out that made national news. If you are on AOL and you get a piece of email called Good Times, do not open it. Delete it. It is one of the most horrible computer viruses ever concocted. And it will literally get into the root directory of your hard drive and possibly destroy it. It can begin running an algorithm that would actually damage or destroy your processor. So it's a piece of email called Good Times. I think AOL is trying to get rid of it, but it's running around in their system so far without a way to get rid of it. So it's horrible. If you get any email that says Good Times, believe me, do not open it. All right, back now to my friend in Kansas City.
Yes, you call me your friend. You do have liberal friends.
I do.
That was interesting about your dad doing a flip-flop. He's a liberal?
Well, it was it was awful what I did to my dad. He loved Richard Nixon. I mean, he loved him. And he absolutely did not believe the Watergate charges. And of course, I was very young. But I was interested. And every day, I would point to the newspaper headline, as Nixon would get in deeper and deeper and deeper. And my dad would have fits. And we'd get into big fights about it. And finally, the day came when, you remember the I am not a crook thing, and then past that, and my dad clipped. And I think there was a little metal break there. And when it occurred, and lately, I mean, my dad was a Marine. He fought on Guadalcanal. There are photographs of my dad on Guadalcanal in my book. See, I talked about it. There you are.
Yeah.
And now he uses terms like spraying bullets and these awful guns and on and on and on. So,
but you did a flip at the same time, I'll take it.
Well, I grew up.
You got religious.
Well,
you discovered your God.
Look, I'm not religious about my politics. I've got a pretty open mind, actually. But I'm generally conservative, which is generally correct.
Well, that's that money factor. I don't talk politics with my friends or potential friends or acquaintances.
I understand that. Otherwise, you'd have few.
I'd have certain friends. No, conservatives, see, you people, you do have a multiple personality. But that's one of the reasons you can't elect a Republican here.
You are confusing multiple personality with open mind. You see, yours is so constricted, myopic, that whenever you see anybody who can think in several different directions and chew gum at the same time, you're confused.
Is that right? Well, how come... okay, this government thing.
Is this going to get profound, or are you just now reaching for something to say?
No, profound. The government thing with... what the lawyer man talked about, that Clinton's constituency is
yes,
a new world order.
Yes.
I don't understand where that comes from. I think he's back to United Nations. I think any sensible man would, or woman. It's a pretty bad world if we don't come together and talk.
Well, I have nothing. There's nothing wrong with talking. And you know what? If those guys at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base want to shake hands and make peace, I say, by God, great. Go home and have peace. Yeah. Well, one more thing. You said the lawyer guy. Right. You remember the lawyer joke he told? It was pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Here's another one. Let's see if you can get it. 6 lawyers buried up to their neck in the sand. What do you have?
I give up.
Not enough sand. I'll see you later. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hello.
This is Charles, San Mateo, California.
Hi, Charles.
You live in Pahrump?
Yes, Pahrump, Nevada. Yes.
Yeah, I go camping out there in the Anacosa Valley. It's one of my favorite spots.
Beautiful area.
Yeah, I love it. I photograph out there. I do like celestial photography. I was wondering if I could send you some pictures of the moon rising over the Spectre Hill.
You certainly may.
I've been waiting for you to give your
post office box number again. But,
Do you wish it now?
yeah, please.
Do you have a pencil?
I'm ready to go.
Do you have paper?
I'm ready.
All right. Post office box 4755 in Pahrump, Pahrump,
Right, and is it?
Nevada, zip code 89041-4755.
Thanks, Bart. Yeah. And when I want to wash the dust off, I'm going to go stay at the Savoy in there.
There you are.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Also, an update. I had a feeling that I was wrong. Art, I think your sofa change calculator came up with less than $1 million, was way off the mark. At 3 persons per household, there are over 80 million, not 8 million households, you're right, in the United States. Even if only 1/2 of them have sofas, 78 cents per sofa yields, the bottom line, $33.8 million in sofas. That's serious. $33.8 million in America's sofas. The only thing I'm not sure about is that my 78 cents was a good average. So why don't you all take a minute out now, those of you willing, go to your sofa and count the change. Come back and tell me. And maybe when we get a few reports, we can come up with what appears to be some sort of average. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning. Yes.
This is Pam in Memphis.
Hi, Pam.
Last night you were talking about why Clinton wanted to get involved with Bosnia.
That's correct.
Well, what helped the economy get out of the depression?
What depression? Who's the
1930s. Was World War II, right?
What does that have to do with Bosnia now?
Well, maybe he wants a war, and he thinks it'll help our economy, because if we go to war, then everybody have jobs creating bombs and weapons and bullets and all that.
So, to help the munitions people and the defense contractors, we need a good fight.
Well, to get everybody jobs. Like, this is the only way he could think of for everybody to have jobs.
War equals jobs.
That's what it has been before. I'm not saying that this is a good idea, but it seems like he has a lot of odd ideas.
Are you married?
No.
If you were and you had a son, and he was of the age, how do you think you'd feel about his going over there to the land of landmines and death?
Well, I wouldn't like it at all, but if he was 18, it would be his own decision.
That's true. That's true, and so far it is a military force. Now, doing this is going to require the calling up of the reserves.
Right.
So it's going to pull a lot of people away from families and jobs.
Right.
So, well, all right, thank you very much for the call. I think it is the foreign policy military idea from hell, myself. And we're talking about phone taps. How many of you say things on the phone that you would not want the FBI to? You know the way to foil this? The way to foil this is everybody begins to use keywords that will cause the prey to go crackers. In other words, whatever it is, let's see, FBI, bomb would be good. I'm sure bomb would kick out a conversation. See, the prey looks through a zillions of conversations, and it looks for keywords, FBI, ATF, McVeigh. We could come up with 1 million keywords that would stop that prey cold, and if everybody would simply insert some of these words into the middle of each conversation they have. Well, here, I'll show you. First time caller line, you're on the air.
All right, great. That's with you, Dean, Maui.
You're calling from Maui.
Yes, good morning. How's it going, Art?
Well, boy, I'll tell you, it's a bomb of a call, sir. Glad to hear all the way from Hawaii.
Well, this is only about an article in Time magazine. And have you familiar with Juanita?
Juanita?
Yes.
I remember her. She was really something. I met her south of the border, and we had some great times.
A young Inca girl sacrificed about 500 years ago.
Is this the one found recently?
Yes.
How did they know her name was Juanita?
Oh, that's what the team named her.
Oh, I see. In other words,
Okay, and I just was a little bit worried because they're going to do blood and DNA examination.
yes.
And they're going to look for viruses and germs that may have been around back then. Just a little bit nervous.
Great. Maybe that's great. Maybe they'll find something they can use. Now you ask yourself this question: if they found a deadly virus in this Inca girl, long dormant, but one that they can reconstruct, synthesize, and for which there is no cure, what do you think they would do with it? A, destroy it so it could never get loose and hurt mankind. Or B, put it away in our arsenal of doomsday weapons that we can let loose just in case we need to. Or C, or wait a minute, or C, release it immediately.
Just the thought of them trying, and they're not even doing it here. They're doing it in where was it found in Arequipa? So.
Well, I'm asking again, what do you think they would do with it?
Probably try to make a weapon.
Yeah.
Put it in our arsenal thing.
Hate to say it, but I'm afraid you're absolutely correct. Thank you very much for the call. Have a good morning. Sorry, but the guy from Hawaii is correct. They'll probably put it in the arsenal. I don't think they'd release it right away. I think they would. All right, back to it. I may have a few surprises for you this morning. No promises. We shall see. By the way, here we have an honest letter from a newspaper delivery person whose name I shall not use because his boss listens also. Dear Art, I am a newspaper carrier in Memphis. I'm responding to the question about carriers putting papers where customers can't see them. The answer to this question is a definite no. We have employees at the, well, I don't want to identify where, who redeliver missing papers. The dirty deed would come back to haunt us. From experience, if a customer can't see the paper from their front door, they complain. So we throw the papers from our car onto the customer's driveway. For customers that are handicapped, we walk to the door and place the paper on the porch. Now, some people do take advantage of this. They don't want to walk and pick up their paper. If we know they are fooling us, weird things happen with their paper. Have you ever closed a storm door on a paper? You can't open that door very easily, of course. Well, I've never done such thing, but I've heard rumors about others doing it. The paper gremlin attacks again. Well, you can read into that one whatever you want, but it's not real hard to read between those lines. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Yes, all right.
Turn your radio off, please.
Yes, all right.
There you go. Yes?
Yeah, I'm calling from WGNS country.
Where?
WGNS country.
Where is that?
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I just turned on my radio a couple days ago to tell you to take your show off. It's around the first of the year.
Might I ask what exactly you heard?
Okay, Rick said something about you all had thought about taking your program, the Dreamland Radio program off there around the first of the year.
Yes, the network is moving from the station you're listening to.
Okay.
But you will still hear the program. Where did they announce this?
It was on WGNS.
Well, I mean, like, did the manager go on the air and say it was happening, or?
Yes, he did.
He did, huh?
Yeah, I guess it was a recording or something, but he did say that.
It was a recording.
Right.
Okay, well, I guess they're free to announce that. It is, in fact, true We have decided to change affiliates there. And all I can tell you at this point is you will not miss the show.
Okay. So it'll be on somewhere else down the dial?
As they said at WKRP, up and down the dial, yes, I'll be filling you in.
Okay. It's for the station that I'm listening to right now, it's WGNS.
Right.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I appreciate the call, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Hey, Art.
Yes.
My name is Dominic. I used to drive cabs in Las Vegas.
Oh, yes.
Remember me?
I do.
Yeah, I just was listening. I'm in Rochester, New York. I'm back home now, and I picked up turned on the radio, and I heard you. I said, wow.
I bet you couldn't believe it, huh?
No, I thought I would never hear you again.
You know, that is one big mama of a radio station there in Rochester.
Yeah, Wham Radio.
Wham 1180. It's 50,000 watts, non-directional, totally, and it covers literally from Maine down to Florida.
Yeah, I missed that Mount Shasta. You remember Mount Shasta?
Tom, of course.
Nice guy.
You know he passed away.
Yeah, I know. I remember just when I left Vegas, he passed away. You remember my predictions about the weather? I told you that.
I do sort of remember something about it. Yes.
The fires in Kuwait and.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And we're going to have some bad weather. Well, it's turning out that way.
And you think it's because of the fires in Kuwait?
Well, no, I don't think it's only that. I think
have you changed your view on that? In other words, you think, yes, it's obviously we've never had this many hurricanes.
Yeah.
The earthquakes. I'm going to reread the scallion thing in this next hour. I suggest you do not miss it.
I won't miss it. I'd like to see if you ever get that Mr. Lira. He's a great guest.
Well, it's been a long time. So I'll get John on with you. Yeah, I bet that was some surprise, huh? There you are in Rochester, and all of a sudden there we are.
I hope you're going to stay on here now on the station here.
We'd like that.
Yeah, well, I'll send in my little request and tell them to keep you on.
All right.
Enjoy your show.
Well, we just got there.
Okay, I know you did.
Take care, my friend.
Okay, Art.
Right. That's true. Good to hear from New York. As a matter of fact, it'd be kind of fun to hear where exactly the Rochester signal goes. Maybe I will hold open in line. How to do that. Got about 1 million Detroit calls yesterday, but not a lot from, but it was Rochester's first night on. So a lot of people are sitting there going, who the hell is this guy? What's he doing? Well, what we're doing is live talk radio in the middle of the night. See, it ought to be 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. 4 o'clock in the morning already in Rochester. So when I come back, I will hold the line open for Rochester listeners for a little while. I think that might be fun. What do you think? What do you think? Tap 1 in 100 phone lines in crime-infested areas. The only thing I don't understand is how they define that. That'd be real important. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Mark Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring a replay of Coast to Coast AM from November 1st, 1985. Somewhere in Time on Premier Radio Networks. Tonight, an encore presentation of Coast to Coast AM from November 1st, 1985.
That it is, my friend. And coming up in a moment, I've got a surprise from Perth. That should give you some hint of what we're about to do. And so now, I promised it. I promised it. And we're going all the way now to Perth, Australia. The man down under, he's Stan Deo, and he's a fascinating guy. We had him on once, and I'll tell you, Stan, you kind of flamed me a little bit in your email message.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Let me read part of what Stan said. Art, we have given you the nickname the artichoke. You see, artichokes have lots of barbs on the outside, but when you butter them up and look behind the barbs, you find a tender heart. So that's a semi-claim, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, when we first had you on, Stan, you know, the people up at the network, they're a humorous bunch. And they thought, initially, they heard me calling Australia, and they went, what? I wonder if we'll even be able to sell enough tapes to cover the cost of the call. Well, we sold tons of tapes, and so I went, na. Basically, you're a fascinating character. You captivated the audience, Stan, and that's why you're back. Look, tell the audience, and there's a lot of new audience out there, tell the audience who you are and why you're in Australia, and then we'll go from there.
All right, Art. I'm Stan Deyo, obviously born in the United States in Texas, in a town called Valley Mills, and I went from there up to Dallas and was raised there. I went to the United States Air Force Academy for a couple of years in Colorado, at the courtesy of the government. I got into a lot of very interesting projects at the Academy, some of which were not in the normal curriculum. They were to do with intelligence. And I know that a lot of people will find it hard to believe, but that's kind of where they recruited a lot of people at the time. And I was part of an experimental program with people that were programmed with high-speed flash cueing, with hypnosis, with various other things that allowed us to...
Wait a minute, you just jumped by me. What is high-speed flash cueing?
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Yep, where they put you in a room, several of you, and the temperature is that body temperature in the room, and you see a screen in front of you, and you're told to focus at the focus dot and close your eyes. And when the instructor says open, you're to open your eyes and not blink for 4 or 5 seconds, while a high-speed flash slide projector puts 200 frames a second on the screen in front of you.
Wow.
And your mind is programmed with every page photographically when they do this. You don't realize it at the time, but it does shove it into your subconscious mind, and you assimilate it over the next few days or weeks as you sleep. There were a lot of things that were done in that manner, experimental things, but some of us did better than others at receiving the data. Just as an aside, I remember in the class where we did this at the Academy after lunch one afternoon, the first time they tried it on us, well, we went in and they pulled this stunt on us, and we all laughed, and they told us we just read a 200-page book in a few seconds, and all we could see on the screen was flashing gray patterns. And he said, look, I'll prove it to you. And he started mentioning words, key words out of the story that they just pumped into our mind. And when he said, I think it was like scarf or red or something like that, Stretch up behind me jumped up, this tall, skinny fellow, he jumped up and he said, sir, let me interrupt. I see the page you're talking about. I see it floating in the air. I can really see it.
Ooh, that's incredible.
And he read it word for word. And so, then we were impressed. But anyway, that's where I went to school. And from there, things got more complicated as I left the academy and was approached by Dr. Teller's people, Edward Teller, through Dr. James R. Maxwell in Dallas, about new kind of propulsion systems for circular wing flying craft. And eventually, along those lines, I was sent to Australia and introduced the Australian government by Teller and Maxwell's people to continue my research down here. Why? I don't know. They just simply said that Australia was the place for me to do it. Is that enough, or do you want more?
Well, tell them the capabilities of the craft that you worked on.
Well, the craft that I was first designing was what's called a plasma craft. It heated the air and moved it over the surface of the craft and underneath it and back inside and up around again and swirled it around like a toroid or like a smoke ring. And we had not built one. I was just simply going through the method of moving charged air at home with my equipment. And anyway, this particular kind of craft would fly very fast and leave no shock wave, but it would leave a heat pattern, and it would frequently catch its seals on fire. Now, when I was recruited into the program, I was told about 52 other projects that had preceded mine since the mid-50s. I was late coming into the game, and you weren't invited in unless you stumbled upon the right way to do propulsion. Now, as I'm saying, mine was a plasma drive. There were others that I was shown, one particular one that other people had done, which used electromagnetic fields, doing essentially the same thing I was doing with the plasma, as I'm charged here, but doing it with electromagnetic fields around and through the craft and its crew. Much more efficient than what I was working on, but still along the same principle of breaststroking your way through the environment without pushing. It's called asymmetric propulsion. It can turn corners, the new craft, like you can turn a corner 25,000 miles an hour in the atmosphere or underwater, if that were the case. I mean, I don't think they fly that fast under the water, but in the atmosphere or in space, you can turn a corner that fast without spilling a drop of coffee while you're braking and go around a corner. Inertia is conserved, the momentum is conserved toward a focus point inside the craft so that you make it heavier, but that's about it. And
all right, Stan, I had Richard Hoagland on the other day.
Oh, yes, how's he doing?
Oh, just fine. He made reference to the STS-48 mission. You're familiar with that?
Yes.
You're familiar with the video footage that came from STS-48?
The people that got it out of NASA first sent me copies to analyze.
So you're very familiar with it?
Yes.
Stan, some of what you see in those in that video would appear to be doing exactly what you're just talking about.
Yeah, I know. If you look at the whole video before the laser burst and everything else, or the plasma burst that went up apparently, you see a lot of things flying around in the atmosphere at high speed that you don't normally see. I'm still not sure whether all that traffic was real items or whether it was thermal anomalies, but whatever they were traveling very fast and making most erratic movements.
Exactly. The kind of turn you just talked about. One of them.
Exactly. Look, I understand how all this happens. I mean, I've seen photographs inside the assembly area over in Saudi Arabia where, in Jabal Tawuk, where they did some of this, the Americans did some of this testing. And these craft are just big flat bar coils wrapped around something like a donut, a square section donut, and they generate a tremendous field by building it up over a period of time. Anyway, they can do things that are extraordinary. They really affect the passage of time. I'm not saying it's a time machine or anything crazy like that, but they can affect physical and chemical reactions in matter, living or inanimate, so that when you're inside the field, the time dilates for you or expands depending on where you are in the field. So you can spend 5 days and 15 minutes if you're in the wrong place in the field. In other words, you came up walking one of the craft parked and it had its field on, and you started walking toward it. But theoretically, as you start to walk toward it and go into the field and talk to the people inside, turn around and come back out, to you, 5 days may have passed, you grow a 5-day beard, but when you get back out to the outside where you entered the craft from, 15 minutes may not have passed. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I do. That's incredible. Stan, for this kind of technology to have existed this long, with Stan Deyo and some other people I've talked to, only knowing about it, and it not being widely known, although it is now, how can that be? I mean, how can that incredible kind of secret be kept?
Well, I think that's a fair enough question, Art, and it's not one that is new to me. I've asked it myself many times. How is it that we're the only ones that know this, and why doesn't anyone else know about it? Part of the problem is that when people like myself have tried to leak it, there's been such a tremendous media, put down, that serious people never considered it. They just said, well, if it was possible, they would have told me. I'm a physicist, or I'm a leading financier, or a philosopher. You know, all these people would have said, I would have been told if it was real. And so I assume that a part of it is the psychology of mass movements is the reason that people haven't been more aware of it. The information is here. You can dig up a lot of the stuff I do. I give photostats and I tell you names, places, people, companies. Go look it up. I've printed for 18 years The only thing I can tell you positively is that America has withstood every assault I could make trying to get my books into the country. I can only do it through small mail order houses or direct mail because the major publishing companies won't touch me with a 10-foot pole. And I'm a bestseller in this country, and I'm published in French and English in 22 countries, but I can't get in America. I've been trying to tell people in America, and that's the biggest vacuum in the knowledge game is in America. You guys just are being wrapped in a blanket and kept blind.
Right. Well, I really do believe that. It's not so much what we're told as what we're not told.
Exactly.
That really is true. Now, I did find the facts in question that came from a fellow named Nighthawk. So we're going to jump subjects here, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
But he said Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, long ago predicted a chamber beneath the claws of the Sphinx would be found. In it would be found records of Atlantis. I believe Gordon Michael Scallion mentioned a major find in Egypt this year. Yes, he did. Also, John Anthony West. Today on KOIN TV here in Portland, they ran a story that indeed they had just uncovered a chamber just exactly where Cayce said it would be. Now, I've also got late news that I will give you and the audience from Gordon Michael Scallion. He sent it to me late today, very serious stuff. But regarding the area under the Sphinx, do you know anything about that, or is this sort of updating you?
It's updating me. I have to be honest, Art. I do have a comlink to Scallion over the computer, and I've just been remiss this week. I haven't gotten back to his last message, but I know he has said that, and I know there are digs occurring near the Sphinx. They have been for several months with reputable archaeologists, and there have been chambers found there and further up the Nile. I will just have to wait and see as far as I can say.
How do you feel about Gordon Michael Scallion? I just sort of an off-the-hip reaction on Scallion.
Well, let's say he does things differently than I do. Certainly his earthquake and volcano type stuff, his predictions there, are almost identical to what I get doing the hard slog with mathematics and computers and data from NASA. I come up with the same answers, perhaps not as quick or not as far in advance as it is, but on that particular side of things, yes, I think what he is saying is of good social value.
All right, well, he said, watch very carefully Mount Vesuvius in Italy and Etna in Sicily. And I just, let's see, it was Sunday night, Stan. CBS ran a big story on the geologists watching Vesuvius, and they think it's about to go.
That's true.
We've
been saying the same thing in our newsletter.
I just got an article from a European newspaper saying that the geologists in Sicily are now detecting increased serious activity at Etna.
Yep.
And then late today, I got a bulletin from Gordon saying that he believes the last cycle has begun.
Well, look, in Italy, I mean, what I'm going to tell you here is published news on the American Reuters or AP. So
all right, before you tell me, it's a good point to have a cliffhanger. So hang on just a second. Let me take care of business, and we'll come right back to Stan Deyo in Perth, Australia. Stay right where you are. Now, back to Stan Deyo. Stan.
Yes, Art.
All right, Earth changes, and what you see and what he sees, different methods, same rough conclusion, eh?
Yep. Look, on Vesuvius, let me just point out, 24th of August this year, there was an article in Reuters, and I'll just read you a part of it here, and you try to read between the lines here.
Right.
Volcano on the brew. Vesuvius still threatening after all these years. Most scientists agree there is no risk of an eruption soon, but disagree over how much warning Vesuvius on the densely populated Bay of Naples will give before exploding again. We don't want to see similar destruction as what occurred in 79 AD. Let's see, about 50 people were killed in 1944 when we had the last major lava flow.
Right.
The last significant eruption was the 1631 before that, killed 4,000 people, blah, blah, blah. Scientists and geologists at the government Civil Protection Department recently completed a major plan to evacuate some 600,000 people from the Vesuvius area.
That's correct.
Okay, now why would we do this?
It's at this point, it is a voluntary evacuation thing. And the story that ran on CBS, Stan, said the people who live below Vesuvius have the same attitude as people of Pompeii, live for today, and they're not moving.
Well, what about the people in California and Oregon and Washington State that are living right on an active line, and the people in Japan? They're not moving.
I know.
But I'm sitting here watching this stuff on these thermal satellites, and I can't believe people still live there, but they're doing it.
But Stan, I understand that. I mean, people have lives, they have families, they have homes, they have jobs, they have all of this, and you just, on Scallion's word or Sandeo's word or Art Bell's word or anybody else's, you don't want to believe it. You don't want to believe it.
I know. Well, I know last time we talked on your show, toward the end of it, some people asked me, what do you do? And since that your show, a lot of your listeners, lots of them send me email and letters and questions about what do we do with our business, our family, and this and that.
Right.
And your point is very valid. My opinion is that there is no safe place on the planet, really. I mean, there probably is, but I mean, it is impossible for us to really say that is the best place. Nothing will happen to you. You've got a perfect, happy life there. You're just going to have to make the best of life where you are. But it doesn't mean you can't prepare for things to float in your area, or food that you can carry on your back, or transport or communication, whatever you want that you can carry with you. You can make minor preparations to keep your family mobile and provided for, basically, in the event of a civil emergency. All you have to do is read the old newspapers in the last 3 or 4 years about any major hurricane or earthquake site, and see that there was fresh water shortages for months after that, and sanitation problems. And look at these problems and address them for your family. Those are the important issues. If you survive the initial big bang or thump or tidal wave or whatever, great. Pick up your life and go on after that. You're not going to be alone. Other than that, as I said before in the last show, from my Christian perspective, it is a very good time for people to really look at their spiritual life, because there's going to be a lot of people dying. And for those of us that believe you live after this, it is tantamount to look at that side of it.
All right, well, on that cheery little note, we'll break here at the bottom of the hour and be right back to you, Stan. Stan Deyo, all the way from down under, Perth, Australia. More coming in a moment, and yes, we will get the phone lines open. Stay right there.
You're listening to Art Bell's Summer in Time on Free River Radio Networks. Tonight, an encore presentation of Coast to Coast AM from November 1st,
1985. Top of the morning, everybody. My guest is Stan Deyo from Perth, Australia. We're going to find out why Stan's in Australia here shortly. Maybe we'll try and find out why he can't get published here of all places. Hey Stan, do people in Australia refer to it as the land down under? I suppose you guys don't think of it that way, huh?
Oh, we do refer to it that way because everyone else does.
No, I would think from your perspective, we would be the land down under.
Oh, I suppose that they do look at they look up to America. Believe it or not.
I see. Stan, what I would like to know first, I guess, is you agree in substance with Gordon Michael Stallion about the earth changes that you both say are coming, but you come at it from different directions. Explain to the audience how you reach the conclusions that you have reached.
All right, well, there's two things. First of all, my findings about earthquakes and volcanoes, various other things, are from analyzing data from the NASA CWIS, SEAWISS program, and from the OTIS program from Naval Fleet Headquarters, which I have access to over the internet. I have been putting together color image maps and plotting earthquake data from USGS in Denver to put together long-term period plans for or forecasts for when earthquakes are going to get worse in various areas. And going on that basis, which is basically statistical, I've been able to know when at different times of the year we're going to have windows, like Gordon does. Certainly we're approaching 3 windows right now, between now and the end of January. And at the same time, I've been able to look at heat patterns in the surface of the ocean using the naval satellites. And this tells me when heat is building up under the ocean for some reason. That's not 100% accurate, but so far it's been so accurate that in fact, when we did your show last, I had no idea that the areas that we targeted at that time would be hit by so much destruction then. I was expecting it even later. And certainly Japan had 8,700 earthquakes in the space of 10 days after I talked to you on the show.
It's a funny thing, Stan. You're exactly right. Actually, it's going now, I think, over 9,000. And I reported that on the show, and people were telling me I was out of my mind.
Oh, no, you're not. It is all over the wire surface.
Yeah, it is. It is. It absolutely is. And people choose not to believe these things, I guess, or don't want to hear them, and so they don't.
Well, let me tell you something interesting about that. You and I read the press. I went over, I tied in Japan to their seismic services there and got the data as well. I called our guy in the United States Geophysical Service in Denver. I said, hey, look, guys, I'm on your instant alert system here for big earthquakes. How come I didn't get any notice of at this time, the 6,000 earthquakes that have occurred in Japan? I said, there's nothing on my chart. Where's the data? And the guy said to me, Jesus, did they have that many earthquakes over there? Didn't know it. It wouldn't show enough. If it's less than Richter 2 or something, we probably would have picked it up, wouldn't know about it. And they didn't have a clue officially that it was even happening after 6,000 that occurred.
That's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. I don't believe it. But anyway, that's the official story. And there's a lot of stuff that's like if it happens, like on my webpage on the internet, I put addresses that tie into NASA and various other places I use so that people can go in and grab the same data and do the same kind of analysis themselves. Don't trust me, do it yourself.
What they probably ought to do, Stan, is put in a link between your webpage and mine.
Yes, I think I can. Well, so yeah, they can vector to mine from yours. I can go to yours. If you want me to, I'll put you on mine as a vector.
Oh, that's fine. I don't understand all of that yet.
It just means if I say heartfelt name on my page, it'll instantly dive over to your section. If you want me to, I'll do that. I'll certainly do that.
Yeah, and you can request it to the people who run my page. I don't run it, Stan. They do it for me, and you can request they do the same thing.
All right, well, I'll drop in on an email and tell them that.
All right.
But anyway, where were we? The reporting of these earthquakes. Now, some of my links on my internet webpage are little lines that you press a button and it takes you off that particular site. Some of these have been cut off in the last 3 or 4 days. A couple of them into NASA, they have denied access to them. They were open, they were public. One of them was the Mars Exploration Group. I told people how to go in there and get a daily Martian weather report. Okay, they have even color pictures of the wind patterns on Mars every day for the Mars missions they're planning right now.
And they cut it off.
They cut my link off. No explanation, access denied. Now, it was only after I put it on my webpage and started sharing it with folks and let other people guys and have a look, bang, I got denied access. Now, there's a lot going on, like with Comet and Asteroids event. My last newsletter, which is a thin one, I can't get it up on the internet just yet, I'm working on it. We found inside NASA an AIAA paper on the near-Earth object conferences they held, and they held one in September in Italy. All the leading scientists, I've got every name here, and I've got even minutes of these proposed meetings, what they're going to discuss about how serious the threat of asteroid and comet near-Earth approaches are. And they're spending money and putting urging all over it. And then at the bottom they say, however, don't worry, this probably will happen for another 300 or 400 years and anything we hit, but we're just getting ready. This is bulldoze. They're sitting down here laying out plans for orbit determination, deep space tracking. They've even discussed how they're going to explode a two-stage nuclear device near an asteroid to powder dust, and then to use that dust as a cushion so they don't fragment it and blow it out of orbit to get it away from it. They're talking things here that are extraordinary, and this is on the internet in a non-classified section that's not widely broadcast. So I printed the whole thing in the newsletter. I did everything they had. I just printed.
Stan, the latest I've got on Hale-Bopp, which is a gigantic, I guess, comet. I mean, who knows? It's 100 miles in diameter at minimum. And it is out beyond the orbit of Jupiter. And the late information I've got is they've taken photographs showing a strange spiral and a piece that apparently has broken off from it. And is about 30% the brightness of the nucleus of the comet itself. Not a third the size, mind you, but a third the brightness. Now, do you have anything beyond that, or is that about what you've got?
At the moment, that's where it seems to be stuck. Again, at the NASA links at JPL and at Dinky, where we're diving in to grab the comet pictures, things have slowed down there. In the last week, we can get in. The most of we're not on access, but things have slowed down. There's been a lot of talk about why it appeared to change course. It was bad data in the beginning, so that's why they think it was, and all this kind of stuff. But there's something very unusual about this comet. And it is doing, as you're saying, it's spiraling, it's throwing off the piece, but at the moment, everything's going quantum. And if you can see the history of the data pages, you realize that it's gone slow for some reason.
And one other item, it has never, our American press has always had a thing on comets. I mean, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, they all pick up stories on comets. And here we've got something roughly 10 or 20 times the size of Halley's Comet, and there has not been one word.
Well, the mass of it is actually, I think they said 100, I think the mass they said might be 1,000 times that of Halley's Comet.
Well, it may be. It may be. In other words, monstrously larger, whatever the number is, and there's not been a word in the standard press. That just doesn't figure. It's really weird.
It is very weird. And looking behind the scenes with all the emergency meetings going on about what we do to move comets and asteroids out of Earth's way, I tell you, in fact, I talked to a couple of the leading astronomers. One is Duncan Steele here at the Australian National Observatory, who's written
well, hello, welcome to the stream.
I called that guy. I said, look, I hate to bother you. I said, but should we tell people, that they're coming, and that there is a problem to avoid the panic part? Should we really tell them or not? He said, look, that might have been the idea a few years ago. He said, but now we've got to tell them. He said, that's why I brought the book out. It is serious. We need to tell them. It is not a minor issue. So, how many warnings do you need? I mean, this guy is a qualified person in the field that I respected, and his group, he and Tom, I think the other fellow, have been watching this new comet, and their reports show all the time on the comet page. In fact, that's another area. While we're talking, I'll just plug in and see if we can pick up the comet pages.
All right.
Now, I'll put it in the background. We'll talk about it later.
All right. Why are you in Australia?
Well, like Troy, I was sent here by the American, elements of the American government with Dr. Keller, his Barnes Livermore radiation. I was sent here to do research, continue my research on two things. Primarily, a new kind of aircraft propulsion like the flying saucers. And secondary to that, which got me in more trouble in the process of, was looking at ways to convert energy straight out of the environment into electricity without using petroleum or things like that, but using resonating circuits like Nikola Tesla did. And those are the two areas that got me in trouble in the States. And they, rather than shut me up any other way, I think they put me down here to finish my work and cut my thumbs off.
All right, but basically you still retain your citizenship, or do you not?
No, I gave that away back in 1977.
So you are now an Australian. You're an Australian citizen.
Yeah, well, I call myself a West Australian Texan.
But I mean, technically, you're an Australian.
Yeah, I'm technically an Australian citizen, Australian passport now. And it was done simply to keep my own government, the American government, from jerking me out here if I didn't want to leave Australia. Now it doesn't matter, they can do it anyway. But
well, you could have come back, though. I mean, there was a time when you could have come back to the States, but you obviously, for whatever reason, chose not to.
I did come back twice. I came back with a film crew one time and by myself the other. And certainly no one stopped me at Los Angeles when I came in, but we did pick up a two-man intelligence team that were fairly lowbrow types. I mean, they gave themselves away pretty early in the game, but they stuck with us like glue while we were there with the film crew. And there's been no formal thing that said don't come home. They gave me a business permit, but I can't get I tried to get my U.S. citizenship back, and they wouldn't allow that. That was very difficult to road, so that's welcome has been removed.
And is it because of what you're trying, obviously, I guess, what you're trying to tell everybody?
I think so. I don't understand exactly what my value in their whole equation is, whether I'm a threat, an asset, or whatever. I've got to be honest. I know I'm still in their equation, still factored into the Department of Defense and various other people. I'm probably not available on your police computers and things like that. I've had that yet. But in the intelligence game, I'm still there and current. I just don't know whether they treat me as an asset, as collateral, or what. But I'm in there in the game for what we're talking about: UFOs, ground control, information exchange, and dissemination.
Maybe they have converted their thinking about you, Stan. Maybe they regarded you originally as a threat and now regard you as part of a sort of a conditioning process.
It's possible, Art. I mean, I've tried to avoid being used by anybody, and I guess living out here has been helpful in that respect. I'm so far out of the game that people don't talk to me that often. But now that I've gotten back on the internet, a lot of strange things that happen on my computer. I can see when they're kind of diving in their cases to see what we're up to. I don't mind if nothing we're doing in secret, but believe me, they do monitor what comes out of my computer.
Well, let me tell you another story that's circulating this morning. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has just requested of Congress permission to freely monitor, they say, 1 out of every 100 phone calls in high crime areas. No doubt using computers, phrase and so forth, to look for keywords, to look for people who are having conversations about crime or maybe Standeo type things that they can listen to.
Well, they're already doing it here in this country. I've got a number of friends that work for the phone companies that talk off the record to me, and certainly they watch my phones here and a lot of other folks, and they run tapes on them, and they do keyword searches. But they did tell me that they didn't just do it willy-nilly across the board with all phone calls. They still had to target specific numbers because they didn't have the computing power to grab everyone's conversation. Not quite that big yet.
Well, we're getting pretty close to that here, Stan. Stand by just a moment. We'll be right back to you. My guest is Stan Deyo, all the way from Perth, Australia. Next hour, he's all yours. All right, again, we're close to the top of the hour here. Stan from Dean in Kauai White asking regarding your ocean thermographs, can you update us on the hotspots? What are the hotspots? Are there any new or emerging locations you can report about?
All right, well, we put it up on our webpage. I try to do that every day. And as of 24 hours ago, there was a circular red hotspot, or probably yellow hotspot on our coding, which means a significant one, about 500 miles west of Baja California. That's the closest thing to America of the Medes Valley value. There were some minor heat areas building up off the coast of Mexico and Nicaragua. Japan had a minor shadow developing, as I recall, in the South Island. Definitely China, China, Southwest China, right up to the sea edge there. That had a hot spot on it. And in the Philippines, we had a very confusing pattern 2 days ago of high heat spots there. And they weren't as bright as one off California, but there were a number of them. And it didn't twig at what was going on there until I got the Navy sea wave height images. So when the waves raise up anywhere on the planet, that's an image. Yes. And if you're aware, there's two hurricanes that have just gone through the Philippines, right in when the white diggers have the coast there. What was happening was whatever was making the heat was producing the cyclonic or hurricane winds, and of course went right through that whole area. So we saw that.
Now that's down close to you. Can I ask you, Stan? I had a report that the typhoon, really you guys down there have typhoons, that the typhoon that was headed to the Philippines at one point had sustained winds of 180 miles an hour. Is that correct?
It could be. I'd have to check the links on that. On my webpage, I do have a link that goes into the whole American tornado and earthquake and hurricane watch. And you can actually plug in and get the track and velocity of it as every report comes in, plus some of my photos of it.
All right. Are you aware that in Perth, you're very close to the 19.5 degree angle that Mr. Hogan talks about all the time?
Yeah. Look, I don't know about this stuff. I follow the studying videos. I've studied this mathematics. And a lot of the things that are happening on the planet are outside the 19.5 north or south. Some of them are up around the 45 to Japan. And I'm not denying that there are a lot of things we don't understand about, all his tetrahedral math and things like that. But certainly I see things happening outside the areas he has specified. If we go around saying, look, I live at 19.5 degrees, I better cut my wrist or move, that's ridiculous.
No, I was just pointing it out.
I'm being sympathetic. There's so much going on at the moment that I'm getting a bit tired because we're working 7 days a week here and getting about 4 hours sleep a night.
Stan, you're right about that. There's so much going on. It's the quickening. That's what I call it. Listen, we're at the top of the hour. I'd like the audience in the next hour to be able to ask you questions, so relax and we'll be right back to you.
Okay, all right.
Stan Dale from Perth, Australia. Right back.
You're listening to our show, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring a replay of Coast to Coast AM from November 1st, 1995.
Let's get it started.
Premier Radio Networks presents our show, Somewhere in Time. Tonight's program originally aired November 1st, 1995.
And my guest from the land down under, Stan Dale, Perth, Australia. Back to him in just a second. And the big question everybody's sending me on fax machine is what's Stan's web address. So get a pencil, get a paper, get ready to write. It'll be the first thing we'll ask him, then we'll open the lines. Stan Dale back in just a moment. Now, back to Stan Dale. Stan, tell everybody how to get to your webpage, if you would.
To my webpage. Well, for those of you that are on the net, it's the following address: http:// period AU and then the next thing is a tilde. It's like a little Spanish tilde. And then my name, STANDEYO, all lowercase. All right, I'll read that back one more time. http:// period AU tilde STANDEYO, all lowercase. So that's my webpage. That's where we'll link from there.
They're going to have to do something to fix that.
It's long, isn't it?
You know, there's got to be a better way. As I say, I think getting a link set up between your page and my page would be a good idea. At any rate, one other question, then I'd like to take some calls. All right, please ask how we can get. You did write a couple of books, right, Stan? They're called The Cosmic Conspiracy and The Vindicator Scrolls.
That's correct.
They're hard to find.
Well, look, down here they're not, but certainly if you have problems, you can mail to us here, or there is one crowd that are helping us in Illinois that you might be able to get through. Next magazine there, but our address here is P.O. Box 71, Kalamunda. That's KALAMUNDA, West Australia, 6076, and either book is $30 US, and that includes the airmail to wherever you are, any place on the planet. We do have stocks, reasonable stocks of both at the moment. We just had to reprint the other one, the Cosmic Conspiracy.
All right, you better give that address one more time.
Okay, P.O. Box 71.
Right.
Kalamunda, that's KALAMUNDA, Kalamunda, right. West Australia, right. In Australia, 6076. That's our P.O. Box, my personal one, and then we'll have to get the address that you need for the book that you need from that address. I'm just looking up the other thing here for you. The guys in Illinois that are helping us from Nexus Magazine are being quite good about this. They are in Kempton, Illinois, at Nexus Magazine. So it's NEXUS Magazine, Nexus Magazine, P.O. Box 177, Kempton, 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 Illinois, zip code 60946-0177. Now, they have the magazine there, probably around $25 US plus postage. I'm just guessing at the price. I think that's about what it is. If you want to fax them, they are on 815-253-6300. Phone number 815-253-6464. I write to that magazine here, and I'm doing their electronic presence on the web here shortly. So there's a fairly close alliance between them. So you're almost writing straight to me if you write to them.
All right. Stan.
So that takes care of that. Okay.
It does. It does. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd like you to take a few questions on phones.
Great stuff.
All right, here we go. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Stan Deo in Australia. Hello there. Going once, going twice, gone. On the first-time caller line, you're on the air with Stan Deo in Australia. Hello.
Hi.
Where are you, sir?
Miriam? I had just suggested that you carry the book, so you just need all the information how to get it, since he has all the trouble.
Right.
And I also had asked the fact I haven't gotten the books yet, your autograph books that I've ordered.
Well, they should be there shortly, sir. Do you have a question for Stan?
Well, I was giving the suggestion of getting the books, but he gave it.
All right. Well, then get settled. Thank you very much. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Stan Dale. Hello.
Hi, I'm calling from Eastern Oregon.
Yes, sir.
On KLBN. I appreciate, I heard Stan was the first time he was on the show, and I appreciate, I think he mentioned that he was concerned about not giving out too much information where people will be upset or closing businesses and stuff like this, right? But, you have Scallion now saying what he's saying, and tonight he's also saying that, it's just not being reported to us for whatever reason, and I would have appreciated if he would just be, instead of just dancing around and just be a little bit more specific, as specific as he can be.
Gee, well, it didn't sound like a dance to me. I thought it was very clear, but go ahead, Stan.
I had a number of folks email me with that same kind of comment, and certainly my first program was a little bit cautious. Mainly because I wasn't too certain of the technology or the equations I was using to drive the earthquake occurrences when and where.